Welcome to the good, the bad, the ugly, and the awesome review of Assassin's Creed Origins, developed by Ubisoft Montreal. Assassin's Creed Origins is the story of a magi named Bayek. The story takes place during the time of Pharaoh Ptolemy the 13th, I believe, who is the brother of Cleopatra. She has a coup against him, and she's trying to take over for him. There's also influences from Rome, obviously, with Julius Caesar. And the story is primarily the interaction with Bayek, the Magi, and his wife, I believe her name's Aya, and how they interact with the story and how they've come to form the first assassins of the Assassin's Creed. So I played the game in its entirety to the end of the game, and my lovely wife here, she watched me play. She decided not to play on this one. She just enjoyed watching it and the scenery and the action and all that stuff. So
it was kind of like a movie.
Yeah, it is kind of like a movie.
Okay, so let's take a look at the good.
All right, so as far as like the good in the game, I liked certain NPCs. Some of them were like okay, but I think the NPCs that were like the children really grabbed me the most, because the children had tendency to die really roughly.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I think the kids kind of got to me just watching it, and seeing their storylines, it was kind of cool to see how they interacted with the main character, and
it made you want to, like, when the kid died, or something happened to them, it made me want to, like, avenge them. You know what I mean? Like, oh fuck, I gotta kill these assholes that did something bad to the kid, you know?
Yeah, I would get really sad.
So the next few things I'll talk about that were good in the game are kind of like gameplay things. So the melee combat was pretty refreshing. It was pretty good. It kind of gets repetitive a little bit, very little bit, but it's when you're like fighting one-on-one, it's completely different if you're fighting one-on-two, or if you're fighting one-on-three, or if you're fighting a guard captain, or if you're fighting on horseback. You know, it was so much variation that it kept being fresh. So I never really got tired of the melee combat, and then you change out weapons and stuff like that. So it was really cool. The climbing, when you're climbing on buildings and mountains and stuff like that, was also pretty good. You could literally climb anything. There was very limited restriction on what you could and couldn't climb. But other than that, yeah, it's worked better than some of the other games that I played. Assassin's Creed. All right, so the end game, once you finish the main quest line, the game provides you with a couple end game things that you can do. You saw some of them. One of them was like the elephants. They're these like giant elephants, and there's these guys on top, and you can fight them. And once you kill them, I believe they give you ability points. That leads into the soft cap. The game caps at level 40. The soft cap is once you reach level 40, you can still gain experience and still fill out your ability tree. By level 40, you don't complete your ability tree, and there's also talents within the ability tree that allow you to percentage-wise increase certain damage and things like that. Also in the end game, there's like events that Ubisoft has been adding, like killing the gods. There's been like 2 gods, I think, so far. They've also added a quest. The stuff's all free. The reason why I say it's free, because I'll talk about the DLC in a little bit. But yeah, it keeps the game entertaining and fresh, and like wanting to play more. So another good thing was, the bro, the boat bro, the guy who comes in bro. He comes and picks you up when you're swimming in the water. So like, there's some kind of script inside the game where when you're swimming along, instead of having to swim like 1,000 meters to a boat, some bro just comes out of nowhere. The game generates a bro, and he comes and picks you up, and you can take his boat. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
That was cool.
I also like the Coliseum. Kind of adds like a it's another little bit of an end game kind of thing to it. So it's like you fight these bosses, you fight the people in the Coliseum. Although it starts to get a little bit repetitive towards the end once you go through all the events, but it is a good feature to have in the game.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the bad now. What'd you think?
The bad. Do you remember, like, in some of the quests, it's a matter of the NPC follows you, or you follow the NPC because they want to fit in dialogue, and then sometimes when that happens, it's like some weird stuff happens, like the NPC can't go on a horse to continue the dialogue, or they'll clip through something, or they'll get stuck behind something, and it's like you have to kind of bump them out. I think that's, probably the worst that I saw in the game, but it happened pretty infrequently. The AI can be a little bit odd at times. It needed a little bit of smoothing out, but I could see why the game was trying to do it. They're trying to fit more dialogue in to make it more immersive. So.
Yeah.
Another thing that I kind of didn't like was the fast travel system. I felt like maybe it was me. Maybe it was the way that I played the game, but I felt like the quest should have been you're in one area. Where are my hands going? You're in one area, you do all the quests in one area, and then like one of the final quests in the area will lead you to another area over here, and then there'll be another group of quests. I felt like I was kind of running back and forth and like all over the freaking map. So like the fast travel, I've been running this game on an Xbox One S, so I don't have the new the new Xbox, which has a faster processor. So the fast travel and the loading screens kind of took me out of the game a little bit, so I didn't really like that too much. But that might have just been the way that I was playing. I was kind of playing goofy.
Yeah.
The quests kind of repeat themselves too. The quests some of them have you do similar things. There's different context and plot to certain things, but it's like, hey, this dude is sitting in this keep over here, which is guarded by Romans that you have to kill because this guy is whatever. That happens X amount of times. There's some repetitive quests, but I mean, it's to be expected with certain limitations to the game. You can't have a new thing every single time. It would be insane.
It's a long game too. So
yeah, it's very long game.
It's kind of expected, I guess.
And the last bad thing on the list, it's really not that bad. I just didn't like it that much. Was the hippodrome, the racing with the horses. Controls are kind of clunky and just didn't care for it. I found the Coliseum to be more entertaining and just being out in the world more entertaining. So.
Okay. So now, what about the ugly?
The fucking ugly. This is really ugly, by the way. This is so. Games nowadays, I understand the business model of DLC and providing extra content. I might not be bitching about it if they didn't have any DLC. Like, if this was just like, you gave me, 1 to 100 in a game and you never told me about 100 to 110, I totally wouldn't care. Like, I would have told this, give this game, like, almost a perfect score. But the DLC was, there's a season pass, right? I bought this game for Black Friday. I'll tell you the price, $35. So if you can get it for $35-$40, cool. It's a really good game. But the DLC for the season pass is fucking $40. So it's $40 to get the season pass, which includes like extended level cap. I believe it's like 2 new areas, skin or costume or whatever. It's bullshit, Just give me that shit for free, Ubisoft. Like, I fucking hate this game model. This shit isn't as bad as the Star Wars stuff, but this stuff needs to end. Just give it to me. Just complete the game. Like, put all this shit in the game at launch, and I'll pay full price $60 for it, and it'll be totally worth it. But now you have to, nickel and dime me afterwards because I really like this fucking game. I probably will end up buying it. They got me, but it's bullshit. I find it to be bullshit.
So now let's talk about what you thought was awesome about the game.
So the best parts of the game.
Yeah.
None of this DLC bullshit.
No.
Okay. The best part.
What you really like.
What I really like. The pinnacle of the pinnacle, the best of the best. The horse. The horse is fucking awesome. Or the camel, or whatever you're riding. Hey, that's spoilers. You can't tell them that. No, that's alright. It's alright. Whatever.
It's all online though.
Yeah, the game's been But the horse was pretty seamless. Like you whistle, you're running in a direction, and he'll come pick you up. You just jump on the horse and you continue in the same direction. It's really smooth. The horse and the hawk they're not just add-ons to the game. They're almost integral to the game. The hawk helps you scout out all the enemies in the area so that you can be an assassin and, you know, not trip any alarms and try to kill everybody without alerting anybody, which is freaking awesome. And then the horse, you can fight on the horse. You can do all crazy kinds of shit with, you know, you ride in the horse, you put people on top of the horse. You know, it was awesome. The horse and the hawk combination were like some of the best parts of the game. Mm-hmm. The next awesome part of the game was the ability that allows you to slow down predator bow shots. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you remember, but when you shoot an arrow, it's the sniper bow and arrow. It would allow you to move the arrow kind of like that guy in Guardians of the Galaxy with that thing on his head. Mm-hmm. So you could move it. So it was like you could do really cool shit with that. Like you could, it made horse battles really cool because you could fire an arrow and you could start picking off people. You could pick off probably about like 6 people before anybody even knew what happened. But there's other things where like if there's a bad guy on the top ledge, where's my hand? There's a bad guy on the top ledge and you're down here. You have no line of sight to this guy. You can shoot the arrow straight up and then bend it and hit the guy on top. Mm-hmm. There's some cool shit you could do with the arrows. I really like that. At first I was like, nah, I'm just gonna stick to melee because it allows you to go different branches in the ability tree. But I'm like, nah, the bow and arrows in this game were awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I liked watching you do those because sometimes you would miss and it would be really funny. And then other times it would just be like spot on.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see in action.
Yep. So you were watching me play, right? Mm-hmm. The map size was humongous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you didn't fast travel, you just traveled on your horse, right, from area to area.
It would take forever.
It would take forever, but there was no loading screens. It was like seamless, you know. Mm-hmm. Like it was.
It's true.
It kept you immersed. So like if you want to stay the most immersed in the game, you wouldn't fast travel. But the map was just like it was too big. It was there's so much stuff to do. It's amazing. I've been playing for over I think I've been playing for over 60 hours and I still haven't done everything. And there was so many quests and things that you could do. Like everything was kind of integrated. It had you like go in and save this guy and kill this village or whatever, collect the loot or swim underwater and go through this throne or whatever. You know, you go from the bottom of the water, from the seas that they have there, to the top of the mountains, and there's shit to do. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
The last thing I have on the list for awesome is a big one is the leveling system. So I'm not really this is I think the first Assassin's Creed that was an RPG. Mm-hmm. So you had you level up, you gain ability points, and you can put these ability points into skill trees. And at first I was like, oh, you know, these skills are kind of whatever. But there are some not game breaking, but game changing abilities. Some of the stuff with the bow, like I was telling you, the predator bow, get the freaking predator bow moving the arrow. It's fucking awesome. And then also there's some things that allow you to, you know, like chain assassinate. You can throw a knife after you assassinate somebody. There's some abilities like if you use an overpower attack, you can grab their weapon and throw it at another guy, which almost instantly kills them. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good abilities within the game. Everything felt right. It felt good and it felt right, and nothing was like game breaking. It just added as you progress through the game, and it made you a more efficient killer, which is, you know, it's awesome. So
yeah. So it sounds like you really liked this game. You had a lot more goods and awesomes, I think, than really
it's
bad and ugly. So what would you kind of give for an overall rating for the game?
This is one of my favorite games of all time. Mm-hmm. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I do have to deduct a point though, so I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Mm-hmm. A little bit clunky, like some of the NPCs, like we were talking about, they need to be ironed out.
Yeah.
A little bit clunky, but the DLC bullshit business model really takes away from it. I honestly think if there was no business aspect to the games, you know, like, I understand they need to make money, they're trying to different business models and this and that. The actual game itself, I give it a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just subtracting a point because I don't like to be nickeled and dimed and all that bullshit, and I give the game a 10 out of 10. I don't get off my fucking soapbox, but I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but I love the game so much, I'm probably gonna end up buying the season pass, because what they end up doing later on is like releasing a total edition where all the crap's in it. But I might as well just pay it now and give them my money, because I like the game so much. The game was so good.
Yeah. Who would you recommend the game to?
I would honestly highly recommend the game to anybody. Like, even if you've never played an Assassin's Creed before, this is a perfect place to start. It's a stealth-based third-person game. Obviously, you know, people of age appropriate. Can't have little kids playing this. And I honestly think you'll be missing out if you don't play this game. It's definitely one not to miss. So this is the first episode of the good, the bad, the ugly, and the awesome. And we've done it for Assassin's Creed. I hope you guys enjoyed. We enjoyed the game immensely. It's a great game. Pick up a copy, you know, whatever you want to do. I loved it. I love the game. She liked the game a lot. I mean, it was pretty awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.